Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Wednesday, the 20th of December. Yeah, Santa Claus. He's firing up the sleigh, getting the reindeer ready. We will be closed Monday and Tuesday for the Christmas holiday, and then we'll be closed the following Monday and Tuesday for New Year's, and then after that we'll be back to our regular schedule. Make sure you get out there, follow us on YouTube and Rumble and Thumbs Up and all that other stuff out there. Share it with your friends. Got a lot to talk about. You know, I said yesterday, hey, I think it's going to be a pretty calm week. And then the Colorado Supreme Court said Donald Trump can't be on the primary ballot. We're going to talk about that, just not on this show. If you join us on the Half Empty Cup, the show Jason and I do right after this, we'll talk a little bit about the Trump case in Colorado and being off of the primary ballot, and whether or not, obviously, that's going to go to the Supreme Court. And man, I know this, Jason. That's got people fired up for sure, right? The fact of the matter is they feel like they're, and again, you know, people like to believe, hey, I've got a choice, and when I vote, I'm making a choice for who I want, and that choice is being taken away simply because, well, we don't like the guy.
Yeah, I mean, some people think I hate Trump. I don't hate Trump. I just don't trust him. Why trust any politician? Actually, Trump is kind of fun to watch. I did vote for him in 2016. And some, we'll cover this whole thing, Joe, because it's, I think it's an overreaction. I got more texts and reaction to this because it happened last night or early evening. More people are freaked out about this than almost anything that's happened recently. Even the indictments and the stuff against him. This seems to be like, and it's kind of one of those not that big of a deal, but it is a big deal at the same time. That's what it is, and so we'll talk about it. Chris Lewis is looking it up.
Yeah, I think it is a big deal. I absolutely, especially if it gets if the Supreme Court upholds it. I think that it's a really big deal, and not in a good way. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. allamericangold.com. Is the website. And like I said, it's going to be not a lot of economic data out. We did get consumer confidence today. We did get existing home sales. And I'll say a little disappointing on existing home sales. Not the big jump. And again, it is, this was a November number. It is holiday time, so we'll see. But doesn't look like, at least yet anyway, that people are rushing to buy homes with the drop in interest rates, which, again, I think kind of lays out, hey, it's still too damn expensive. If you want, $1 million for a house, yeah, the interest rate's going to have to go a whole lot lower. We'll talk about that. What did the consumer say? Well, the consumer's really happy about gas prices, but that seemed to be about it. The overall financial condition, not great. When we look at on Wall Street, man, very, very expensive. And I get it. There's a lot of money out there. It makes sense. But here's the thing. M&A activity. That's mergers and acquisitions. At I want to say a multi-decade low. Which just says, hey, you know what? I'm looking at my competitors or I'm looking at opportunity, and it's too much. Warren Buffett's always a great indicator. When he's not buying anything, that tells you that he thinks things are just overpriced. And then we got news. FedEx down 10% today. I actually didn't think their earnings were that bad. But the big thing out of FedEx is, hey, listen, we raised prices. We're going to raise prices again in January. We cut costs, right? We laid people off. But volume, Jason, continuing to fall. So FedEx, kind of like a lot of the retailers, hey, Sales were down 9%, but we made money, right? That type of thing. FedEx stock was off. General Mills came out and said, okay, it's starting to bite now. The consumer now is not paying the big dollars for the premium cereals. They're being frugal with their money. These price increases really starting to bite. And then Winnebago, the RV market, kind of like the used car market, troubles there. And then Lowe's got a downgrade. And again, I don't, too early to tell on housing, right, Jason? I think we need to get through the holidays. If we don't get a big pickup in housing in the first quarter, that could be a sign to come. And then again, maybe people are just like, well, wait a minute, the Fed says they're going to keep cutting rates. I'll wait, right? Hey, I'll wait another 6 months. I'll wait another 9 months to save some money.
Yeah, and housing prices, I don't think is ever going to be a great indicator of what's getting ready to happen. Just because they've kept the inventories have never really caught up since 2008. They've never really caught up. I think inventory is going to increase here because lack of buyers. But since the one thing that doesn't seem like there's too much of is housing. This doesn't seem like there's too much of housing, even though the prices may go down some. But yeah, when it comes to like breakfast cereal, Joe, like you're talking about that, or other things, absolutely they could end up being too much very quickly. So those are better things to watch. And what's going on with oil. We'll have to keep watching about oil, Joe, because lots of manipulation there. It seems like oil prices should be climbing, and I think that's going to be happening pretty soon, Joe.
Yeah, you got it. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back after the half, or after the commercial. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. A quick look in at the markets. It's mixed. The Dow is down. The S&P's flat. The Nasdaq's up 30, but the Nasdaq really, really highly priced right now. I'm a little leery there when these valuations, we're back to these crazy valuations when interest rates were zero. Just be careful there. The metals market mixed, right? Gold's down 3, 2035. Silver's up 32, 24.35. So kind of a mixed bag all the way around. Crude oil's up, even though oil inventory is a new record for production in the United States, squarely above 13 million barrels a day. The currency side of things, the dollar a little stronger today after being weaker yesterday. But if you're concerned, if you're kind of thinking like, wait a minute, that makes a lot of sense. Why hasn't Warren Buffett bought any companies lately? And by lately, like, I don't know, last year and a half, maybe even 2 years. I mean, he just hasn't done it. Looking at valuations, or you're like, man, this thing looks to be priced to perfection, and maybe it goes higher, maybe it doesn't. But I don't want to be around when the bottom drops whenever that is. Check out our friends at Y-Refi, up to 10.25% return. You know this. But they made their whole thing better. They're now, the worst you can do at Y-Refi is say, hey, I'll go for a year. They'll give you 6.5%. That's the worst. There's no fees. You can turn your income on. You can turn it off. You can do whatever the heck you want. Compound it. It's not correlated to the stock market. It's not correlated to the Fed. Check them out. InvestYRefi.com, or just call them at 888-YRefi24. Remember, you need to have $50,000 to invest. You guys know this is all about private student loans, not the student loans that we talked about yesterday. 40% of them didn't even bother paying. That was on all the federal stuff, by the way. Two vastly different things. Something I had to learn. I didn't even know. But check them out, guys. It really is a good alternative to having, as we say all the time, you got to be diversified. You really do. I mean, look at all the craziness that's out there right now. right? Having all of your money in stocks or bonds or gold or silver, housing, commercial real estate, that's always a fool's game. Diversification is the name of the game, so check out why refi. Now, I was looking at these existing home sales. The biggest drop was in the West, down 7.2%. Now, the West has the highest prices. The median price in the West, which means the average price is going to be much higher, because there's going to be a house somewhere in California that sold for $40 million. Well, that house gets offset by the foreclosed house that needs to be completely torn down in the worst neighborhood in wherever, Portland, that somebody bought for $30,000, right? And then you meet in the middle. Still, still $603,000, up 5.3% from November of last year, right? Again, no let up in inflation there. Go to the South. The South, one of the more affordable places, 351. So if you're looking, hey, where can I get cheaper housing? The Midwest, 280,000. The South, 351. The Northeast, because they break it up in four regions, about just under 430. Of course, the West, obviously, much higher. But all of them, Jason, with the South is up 3.5%. Everywhere else, essentially, year over year, it's up 5%. Right? Not 2%, 5%.
Yeah, and in the South, there's some cheap properties down there, so it kind of makes sense, maybe some investing going on, right? And so everywhere else, it's not quite as investor-friendly at the moment. I think a lot of investors, big buyers, are waiting for it to maybe drop a little more, right, Joe? You're going to wait for that magic moment, and then if the rates drop, boy, that might resurrect the housing for a little while, but the inflation will come back. We talked a lot about that yesterday, about how it looks like it can roar back in the coming year, and housing will freeze completely at that point. So all those numbers make sense to me, Joe, that it's kind of a wait-and-see situation for a lot of home buyers and investors.
And then when we looked at consumer confidence, another interesting picture. You had to have money to feel good. And they're saying that, well, the number in December got better. In other words, the consumer's like, hey, we're a little more hopeful. We're hoping that things, come around here. We like what gas is doing. The biggest gains were in households 35 to 54 with income levels above 125,000. Unfortunately, everybody else that lived below that said, yeah, things are not great. Labor market conditions, the weakest since April of 2021. So this is a look here. The consumer saying, hey, jobs, they're not as readily available as they were. I think that's kind of the trend, right? I don't think jobs is horrible, but Jason, definitely a slowdown there. And then, of course, if you're on the lower end, which the vast majority of American households are below 125,000, life's gotten tougher.
Yeah. I've just noticed with the people around me, one thing about running the radio station, Joe, you get these contacts, these business owners, small business owners. I've got a wealth now of small business owners that I talk to on a semi-regular basis, all different industries, and they're all slowing to a halt. It's all grinding to a halt. These contractors that were just, I would say since 2021, just booked to the hilt, talking about 4 months out. Now they're just like, well, I'm waiting for the next job. It's been an amazing shift. I remember it was late last year, early this year, we talked about the RV industry, how it came to a screeching halt. When that happened in the 2007 time frame, right before the housing crash, that's exactly what happened then. It was the first indicator was the RV industry just came to a halt. And then all the contractors and everything else started slowing down as the foreclosures came rolling in. And bankruptcies and foreclosures, Joe, they're starting to ramp up, aren't they?
Yeah, it really is something. Robert Kiyosaki was out warning about bank credit, saying, what, it's just sold off like 2008, warning about cash in banks. Of course, we've been warning about cash in banks. The commercial real estate issue has not gone away and is going to be here continually. And you got to remember, this emergency loan facility, it's going up by billions of dollars every week. And this is something where it's supposed to wind down in May. It's supposed to, okay, that's it. We gave you a little reprieve. Doesn't look like any reprieve is happening whatsoever. And then you look at, what's going on with the dollar. We thought, well, the dollar's doing better today. And how relative that term is, the amount of devaluation. Think about home sales. They're saying, here's what they're saying about homes, existing homes. Your money's worth 5% less this year. 5% less. In other words, what $100,000 would have bought you, right? You now need another $5,000. Right, you need another $5,000 per $100,000. Well, a $500,000 house, that's $25,000 more dollars. Right, on top of the insurance has gone through the roof. Right, we know about interest rates are a little better, but they're it's not 3%. Right, and all of these things, Jason, are having it's. I think it's very, very simple here. We have the economy where the people that are wealthier, they're fine. I think they're still doing well, right? My income, my investments are doing okay. My income's doing okay. Yeah, okay. Cereal costs more. Coffee costs more, right? Orange juice costs more. Eggs are going back up. But you know what? At the end of the day, if I go to the grocery store and I load my cart up and it's an extra $20 or $30, that's not a big deal for me. It's not a big deal for me. If $20 fell out of my wallet or fell out of my purse or fell out of my pocket, it really isn't going to affect me. Yeah, do I wish I had do I wish I had the $20? Yeah. But is it going to be a detriment to me? No. If my car insurance, okay, the premium went up, I got to pay an extra $15 or $20 a month. My homeowner's insurance, I got to pay an extra $15, $20 a month. You total it up. All right, so I had to pay an extra $200, $300 total for the month. That's not going to, I got plenty of, it's not going to affect me. Unfortunately, everyone that makes less now than $125,000, Jason, it's a big problem.
It was the old sign, being nickeled and dimed to death, right? Yeah, now it's the Hamilton and Jackson to death, the $10 and $20 hits. We got the Hamilton Jackson to death. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Yeah, no single price raise is going to bankrupt the average homeowner or family, but it's one after another, and it just keeps on going. And the problem is, Joe, is the first $20 is not a problem. It really isn't. We've lived with that our whole lives. Unfortunately, the Fed has built in inflation. It's the $20 that comes in after the previous $20 that starts to get worse, right, Joe? Then the next $20, that's what's happening now.
Unfortunately, for most people, the fact that the rate of inflation, of course, you got to remember the way they calculate it, which doesn't really track inflation at all, that the rate of inflation is slowing, that still means prices are rising. And to Jason's point, for the last 3 years, I've been Hamilton and Jefferson to death, right? Month after month, year after year. And I think, listen, a lot of people got raises. We talked about jobs. Look at the unemployment rate. It's like at a historic low. The amount of people working multiple jobs, it's an all-time record high, and it's skyrocketing. And now they're at the point of, all of a sudden that second job I had, I waitress 3 days a week. They just cut my shifts. I'm only working 2 days. Or, man, I used to go in and make $100 in tips in a shift. Now I'm only making $75. I've heard a lot of that. I got several friends that are in the restaurant and bar industry. One of the things they're telling me is, yep, I got less people working. I've been cutting hours.
Yep.
But the other problem that they're talking about is the waitresses, the waiters, the bartenders, the tips are down. Right? People aren't. Something, you know what? This one I'm hearing from people. I have waitresses telling me they're not tipping at all. There's people just not tipping at all right now.
Yep. Well, and it's interesting. You talk about the jobless rates not being, it's not very high, but it was just 2 years ago with all the inflation. It was like, well, nobody could get the employment. Nobody could get the employment. I think some people are not getting fired because there's a little bit of shell shock by some of these business owners. Like, well, I'll cut them down to 5 hours a week. I don't want to lose them in case I need them back to 20, right, Joe?
Yeah, that's a lot of that. And I think the numbers just reflect that. You got to have money, otherwise you're in trouble. We'll be back. 592 Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour, allamericangold.com. The special today, it's a good one. $5 Indians. This is my favorite coin because I think it was the coolest of cool. The design, it's the male Indian in the Indian headdress. It was the infused design. Bella Pratt, she was working with Augusta St. Gaudens. Remember, the Saints replaced the Liberties on the $20, on the fractional, the $10, the $5, the $2.50. It was the Indians. Augusta St. Gaudens made the $10 Indian along with the $20 St. Gaudens, and then Bella Pratt, she did the $5 and $2.50 Indians, and they call it the infused design, where they actually engraved into the coin. They had never done that before, and as far as I know, I don't think they've ever done it again. And of course, the flu, the pandemic that went across everything in 1916. A lot of people thought that the germs collected in the groove, in those grooves of the $5 Indian, and of course, as you guys know the story, they stopped minting them. Now, after 1916, they did not make any $5 Indians in 1917, 1918, 1919, 1920. I think they made it again in 1927, and then one more time in 1932. But that was it. It's one of the least minted coins of pre-33 gold partially because of the design, partially because of the quote-unquote Spanish flu that Jason made people, hey, I just don't want to have an Indian in my pocket right now because of the scaring that was going on back then, right? So always a big premium on the Indians, not today. 1 through 9, $600. That is the exact same price as a $5 Liberty. 10 or more, $5.95. So today, if you buy 10 or more, you can actually buy Indians for less than Liberties. That doesn't happen very often. We've been in this streak. Like, this is probably, the second time in the last 60 days or so that we've been able to do something like this. Believe me, it never lasts, and it won't last very long. And then usually you'll go years without that happening again, where you can buy Indians the same price as Liberties. So check them out. $5 Indians, 1 through 9, $600. 10 or more, $5.95 at 800-951-0592. And also check out our specialty coins that we sell. We're doing a fundraiser for the radio station we've got the 2023 Patriot Trading Group coin and the 2023 half-empty cup pure blood coins. We don't have a lot. We didn't mint a lot of them, but pick them up, $75. If you've been collecting these as we've been doing them, keep adding to your collection here. These coins are super, super cool. Daniel Carr, he really is. He's a legendary coin designer. These are actually U.S. Silver Eagles. That's what they're made from. Made from U.S. Silver Eagles. Because Jason and I, we wanted the highest quality that we could get. So check those out. And then remember, we also got the sponsorship package with the radio station. If you want to buy one of the coins, a shirt, a KHNC shirt, a bumper sticker, and then you will get a monthly newsletter, a radio station newsletter emailed to you every month. That's $100. Those are available as well. 800-951-0592. But Jason, a great opportunity. Fractional gold, been very, very popular. Everybody's been worried about with the digital currency, how many things are they not going to be able to buy? Are they going to do, social credit scores, carbon footprint? If you read the IMF handbook, sure looks like that's what they're going to do. So this is a good opportunity here.
Yeah, it sure looks like 2024's gold's going to really race to all new highs. And how high is the new highs going to get to in 2024? We could be on a pace of getting new record highs in gold every single year for the next bunch of years. Kind of a great place to jump in now at the beginning of this gold price hiking to all new highs. Buy it now instead of waiting until 2024, 2025, and so on. Buy every year you can, right, Joe? But buy now if possible, especially Indians. Indians at this price, anytime it's anywhere sniffing around the price of the $5 or $10 Liberty prices, you should jump on those. And the Patriot Radio News Hour coins. Anybody that's listened to this show, if you're new to it, pick one of these up because it's a great price for a collector. Alex Jones did some coins a couple of years ago, coincidentally, right after we got ours up and running. He was charged $150 for his 1 ounce silver coins. So we have a lower mintage. We have the people that buy these coins hold these coins. The only time I've gotten any of these back in the last year and a half has been when one of our customers passed on. And then his wife brought in all this stuff, and then I was able to fortunately sell those to other customers that were looking for those coins. So the back coins, the first few coins we made, people are still asking for those occasionally, wanting those. So nobody's selling them. People are wanting them, and these are going to probably end up with some pretty low mintages. So you may want to jump on these, right, Joe? It's $75.
Man.
Silver's going to be $75 before you blink an eye, right?
It's so cool. The Patriot coin, news to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. One of those great sayings Eric had come up with. Check them out. You can go to allamericangold.com, go to the shopping cart page, and see them. Jason is going to work with Jack and Dominic. We'll get them up on the YouTube channel and Rumble channel as well, hopefully, so you can see them. But if you don't think this is happening, because there are people that still don't think it's true, how about this? CVS, Kroger, Rite Aid, let me see, I don't want to miss anything. Walgreens, Boost Alliance. Walgreens Boost Alliance. I guess that's Walgreens. I'm assuming that's Walgreens. Have been providing patients' medical records to law enforcement agencies without warrants. Right? This is happening everywhere. This is now the new norm, right? We're being spied on. There's no need. They're not getting warrants. Companies that, again, all of these big corporations just handing stuff over, working hand in hand with the government and with the digital currency. This thing is only going to magnify itself. So be prepared. And, Congress, it's so funny. Congress, oh, my gosh, I can't believe it. Where have you guys been? 800-951-0592. Jason and I will be right back. 1-800-951-0592, $5 Indians. If you're like, hey, what's the coolest coin ever minted by the U.S. Mint? This is just my opinion. There's been a lot of cool ones, I'm sure, and I don't know all of them. But when it comes to, how about this? The coolest gold coin ever minted, I think most people would agree, the $5 Indian, 1 through 9 at $600, 10 or more, $595. By the way, the $5 Liberty is $600. So you can buy it for the same price. You buy 10 or more, you're actually buying it for less than a $5 Indian here. There's, these are the quarter ounce, pre-1933, 800-951-0592. Remember HIPAA? Oh, yeah. We are concerned about your privacy. Right? It's that your 18-year-old high school senior, the doctor, I can't let mom or dad have access to what's going on unless your son approves or daughter approves. I mean, it was, right? But, workers, employers couldn't divulge your medical information. I mean, right? I mean, I think it was a reasonable thing. Apparently, that does not apply. Congress brought in 8 of the largest pharmacies in the country. And here's what they found out. All 8 admitted, yep, law enforcement request, we give it to them. Period. No warrants, no nothing. Only one of the 8 actually said, yes, we do give it to them. But we also tell the person that got the prescription that, hey, by the way, law enforcement came around and we gave them your information. And that one, believe it or not, of all of kind of funny, the only one, Amazon. Amazon was the only one that said, well, yeah, they still give it to them, Jason, but Amazon at least had the decency to let you know. And here's the funny thing. This wasn't like federal charges or this or that. Most of these were like civil stuff.
Yeah, big business is in bed fully with big government, and when the big government needs help, the big business will give it to them. When big business needs help, the government it goes both ways essentially, right, Joe? It's why the small businesses hurt so much, Joe. It's because big business has a upper hand, just like the central bank has the upper hand above a small bank.
CVS, Kroger, Rite Aid actually instruct their pharmacy staff to process law information requests on the spot. Right? So, yeah, just boom. They come in, here you go, give them whatever they want, right? No questions asked. And I bring this up as just another example. Listen, the noose is already tightening, and it's been tightening. Most people just don't know it because, they're just uninformed. And why would you know this, right? It's not like when you go to pick up your prescription, the pharmacist or the pharmacy tech says, oh, hey, by the way, Mr. Spacatelli, I want you to know if law enforcement ever comes here, we're going to give them whatever they want. They don't say that to you.
No, but why do I feel like when you sign on the line, there's some small print that says you got to go read this thing? Because my guess is, Joe, these businesses won't break the law. They just make sure that you sign away your freedom to anonymity. So probably when you sign for that prescription, there's probably some fine print that says, please go to our website before signing to get all of our privacy issues. How many times you get something on your computer pops up? Oh, your privacy, this and that. Please click on here and sign this. Well, you're signing away your right to anonymity. This, be careful what you sign, right, Joe? And this is why I don't like going to the doctor. I don't like having to sign my name on any dotted line. I'm always the guy that irritates the process. If I'm in a line and somebody wants me to sign something, it's like, all right, well, what is this signing for?
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
Yeah, another example, and I've said this. I've changed my stance here. I've known for a long time the dollar's going away. right? That's because it's just what fiat money does, and we're kind of at the end of the cycle. And look at this massive run on debt that we've had just in the last, 15 years, and it's insanity, right? But I used to believe, well, we're going to have to issue something. Remember the Amero? I bring that example up. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's not big enough. And then people talk about maybe a global currency. Maybe. I think eventually, yes. But it's very obvious now we're going to go digital. We're going to get a central bank digital currency. And don't worry about cash. Because people always, well, if they try to end cash, we're going to January 6th them. I don't know what they're going to do, right? But they're not going to stand for it. These guys, they're so dang smart. They're not going to ban cash. Mm-mm. They're just going to make it to where no one takes it anymore. Right? Oh, you got to go to Kroger. You got to go to Walgreens. You got to go to Walmart. You got to, you can't. I don't think you can go to Amazon. I don't think they have a physical store. Right?
You can't go with cash to Amazon, can you, Joe? There's
right?
The future.
Right? You're not using cash. It's just not going to happen. Well, policy dictates the banks. Look at what all the banks are already doing. Right? Australia's a great example. Their largest banks now, one of them started in January, we're done with cash. You're not withdrawing cash. You're not putting cash in. All the others, you only can do that at certain locations. Look at how many branches. They're closing branches by the thousands here in the United States. By the thousands. Why? Because, hey, pretty soon there's going to be no reason for you to go into one because you're not coming in here and doing anything with cash. That's what's coming. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason will be back. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour. Remember the half-empty cup of Joe coming up next. We'll talk about, at least part of it, about the Supreme Court, the Colorado Supreme Court ruling banning Trump from the primary ballot. But Jason, speaking of government, maybe one of the best years in recent memory. In 2023, the House voted 724 times on different laws. Only 27 passed. One of the lowest amounts in recent memory, anyway. I kind of like the Do Nothing Congress, where they stop expanding government. But unfortunately, the last time around, I want to say, was it in 2022, they had 549 votes and 248 bills passed into law. So maybe a little bit of law of averages here, but that's an awful lot of government, isn't it?
Every time they pass something is usually not a good thing. And anytime you hear the word, what is it, bilateral, now why am I messing up? Bipartisan. Anytime you hear bipartisan, think bad. so if they're passing 250 things, they're passing well over 240 something things of things that shouldn't have been passed. Joe, to tell you the truth, we can go a whole year of them passing nothing. The country would just get better.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to look. I wonder how low that 27 was. Of course, the year before, 248, that's just outrageous, the expansiveness. And just think about, we don't even know does anyone even think about, wait a minute, they passed how many? What?
Yeah.
240. How about the 27? I don't remember 27 big things that occurred. And of course, you know how these bills are. There's 27 bills passed that affected, 500 things, right? Because they always add and add and add. It's almost impossible. I would love to see something where, and I know this isn't possible, there's like a limit. Hey, listen, you're only allowed to pass 20. That's it. That's all you're allowed. You know,
well, if they could pass 200 things that takes away from the previous year's things, then we wanted to pass as many of those as possible.
There you go, right.
Joe,
That's right.
I just had a listener send me a thing. The House and the Senate passed a thing where the president will be stripped of the power of pulling America out of NATO. The fear is that Trump would get elected and try to pull us out of NATO, and they're going to strip that. I mean, every time they pass something, Joe, it's about stealing the freedoms from Americans. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, it is. And again, right, the New World Order, right? Nope, can't have that. He said he may take us out of NATO. Quick, let's make it so he can't have that power, right? And again, well, I think with emergency powers, that's another thing I would love to see go away, right? It's just way too much power in government.
It's huge government, and I'm just patiently waiting for the Andrew Jackson to get elected in our future that comes in and just eliminates 50% of the government in his first year. Let's get that. I mean, Andrew Jackson did 10%, right? Javier Milei is threatening it. We'll see. You're gone. Yep. I think Ramaswamy said he'll just cut 30% off of everyone's budget all at once. Something like that. We need something like that, right?
Well, there you go. 800-951-0592. Jason and I, we're coming right back with the Half Empty Cup.